Hello, my name is Salaam and I will be presenting my oral presentation for my internship experience for the summer of 2024. So if we want to get started with questions.
Yeah, tell me about your internship.
Yeah, so I interned at Project XYZ, located in Huntsville, Alabama, from May 13th to July 26th, where I worked as a IT and business management intern. Those roles encompassed working in HR and accounting, as well as with IT with our Chief Technology Officer, Joe. As far as responsibilities go, I in the IT department it was a lot of hands-on work in terms of projects like setting up a wired networking system for our employee who was transitioning to the warehouse from corporate, while others kind of encompassed basic troubleshooting and IT support in the office. From an HR perspective, it was lots of work in terms of helping ensure state and federal regulations for labor postings that would later use to help update our employee portal. And for accounting, it was primarily managing uh, about 2,000 vendors in our physical filing system, which were used to keep track of checks, receipts, and other bookkeeping uh, necessities.
Awesome. Describe the most important technical thing you learned during your internship and why it was important.
I think the most technical thing that I learned during my internship was probably the project with Joe in terms of helping set up that wired system at the warehouse. Mainly because it required me to draw back on knowledge that I had previously learned in terms of helping construct Ethernet cables. And unfortunately, we didn't have any pre-made, so we had to use it, or we had to create them using raw cable. It was about 100 feet. And we had to separate the wire, which was also color coded, and also get some Cat5 connectors, which took a lot of work because the wire was faded. But ultimately, I think that was really important because it showed the importance of making sure that things that require um, very specific measures, like the Ethernet, and also making sure that things were looking professional in the environment that we were doing it in it was very clear.
Great answer. What is the most important non-technical thing you learned during the internship?
The most non-technical thing that I learned during my internship was the value and importance of self-care, but also time management. Early on in my internship, there were moments where I felt like I was becoming exhausted way too early, and I realized that that was because I was overworking myself. For the most part, I realized that I was doing about a week's worth of work in like 2 or 3 days, and that was mainly because I felt like my work should be erased when in practice and in reality it really shouldn't have been. And so it was after I, felt that there needed to be a shift in the way that I work that I realized that, hey, I'm actually feeling much better now that I'm taking breaks and I'm able to not treat my work like a race, but as a slow, gradual process.
That is great. Explain what you feel most proud of that you accomplished during your internship.
What I most feel proud of during my internship that I accomplished was mentoring our other summer intern, Faith Warner. And there I was able to kind of help her with the adjustment in terms of understanding front desk and receptionist procedures, which included understanding how to lock and unlock the office, understanding how to answer phone calls, as well as badge and sign people in as needed. And that was important to me because it helped me recognize the importance of not just understanding and learning skills just for rote repetition, but also so if the time ever came to be that I would also be able to teach other people too.
That's awesome, Salaam. How did your internship experience align with your career goals?
This internship experience aligns with my career goals. I think mainly because this will be my third summer working here, but I think it's a very beneficial place to work in because it helps me understand the intersection between technology and business and understanding that while before the two might have been separate in terms of career fields, but in terms of actual operations for a business, the two are actually very intertwined because we use technology for almost everything, at least in particular in this office, where it's used for our accounting system, our HR, in terms of keeping up to date on employee records, and even helping to, manage employee files and IT things too, like resetting passwords and understanding how to reset servers and things like that. And so being able to have the intersection between the two, where it's not just using one skill over the other, but always constantly using a combination of all of them, I think is very enriching, not just for me to learn skills now and like kind of store them in the back of my brain, but also use them moving forward if I chose to go at a different workplace.
Very good. How did working on HR compliance and managing confidential information shape your understanding of data privacy and security?
So knowing that in today's current time where data is often misused or can be stolen or just have a lot of bad things happen to it, having to work in HR in terms of having to deal with a lot of private records and confidential files and a lot of employees like sensitive information like social security numbers helped me recognize how important it is to make sure that private information is stored as carefully as it can be, which in a lot of ways relates to technology because like with passwords and with things like banking becoming more online, it can be very easy for people's data to be stolen or hacked into and misused. And so having to work with that and recognizing that, okay, I know I'm going to have to handle these documents a certain way, and I know that they're going to have to be actually destroyed and not just thrown away or thrown into the recycling bin, helps me recognize that, okay, if I put this or if I use these practices in HR, it's not just useful in HR, but also useful in accounting and also useful in the IT world too.